You have completed your graduation in physics honors.
Yes.
But instead of choosing physics, you have chosen sociology.
Yes,
as
sir.
your optional subject in OPSC.
Yes.
What is the reason?
Sir, I was really interested in science, basic sciences. That was the reason that I chose for ISA. But when I chose for civil services, I thought that I had already studied 5 years and I'll always get an opportunity to study physics furthermore. But if I've come to serve this civil services, so I need to have a more broader knowledge about society. And as said, that sociology is the father of all sciences and arts. So, and the topics in sociology was quite interesting for me. That was the reason that I chose sociology.
What is the percentage of electricity that we get from nuclear reactors as a physics student?
Oh, sorry.
What is the percentage of electricity that we get from renewable sources and non-renewable sources?
Exact percentage.
69,
60.
31.
Okay.
So for nuclear reactor is concerned 2 to 3%. What is helium-3? Physics student?
Yes.
That's why I am asking.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Helium-3 you have not had?
So
Chandrayaan-3? Chandrayaan-3?
Yes, sir.
Chandrayaan-3. You know?
Yes, sir.
What was the objective of Chandrayaan-3?
It was the first to land on the south pole of the moon and the fourth country globally to land on moon. There are various objectives, for example, to find, one was to know about the impact it can have on the climatic conditions on the earth. No, sir, in the sense of like,
It had 4 objectives.
one is finding, sorry, I remember something.
To demonstrate soft and safe landing on lunar surface. Number 1. Number 2, to demonstrate rubber roving on the moon. Number 3, to conduct in situ scientific experiment. Number 4, to find out ways of extraction of helium-3 from moon's surface to Earth.
AISWARYA.
What is the usefulness of helium-3?
AISWARYA, MAHALIK.
Why helium-3 is abundantly available in moon's surface? When China had landed it in the year 2020, from that year onwards, it is making a sincere endeavor to develop that technology through which it can bring helium-3, at least 1 ton of helium-3 to the earth, to China. If China succeeds in bringing from moon to their country, it will solve their energy requirement for a period of 1 year. India is also making this effort sincerely, and the 2 other countries who have an eye upon this helium is America and Russia, besides China. What is International Space Station? International Space Station. Physics.
I think that's, I'm not clear about, I can get.
You are a student of physics.
Yes, sir.
You have done your graduation or post-graduation?
Dual degree BSMS both.
Post-graduation also. Post-graduation in physics.
Yes.
You have no idea about International Space Station?
Sir, I've heard of, sir, International Space Station.
No idea.
Sir, well, I've heard of, I'm not getting it.
What are the steps government of India is taking to eradicate superstition and to spread scientific spirit and rational attitude in the minds of the citizens?
One can be Niti Ayog's Atal Tinkering Labs for research, and other can be various institutions like which is promoting research and education, like ISAS, ISC.
What are the fundamental duties? 51H.
One of the fundamental duties is also to promote scientific temperament.
Yes. how Government of Odisha is also doing its duty in this on this tour? Now, 2 planetariums have already been created. One is Potential Planetarium at Bhubaneswar, another is Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Planetarium at Burla. Through planetariums, what the people are learning?
Awareness of about the space. They're learning how different planets and planet and the galaxies they work.
And what's the basic objective of the planetarium? Because you're a student of physics.
I think the basic objective is to enlighten students to ask questions about science and not go into superstitions, and encourage them for taking sciences.
Okay, what is your hobby?
Yes. I have been a national level Kho-Kho player and a state level athletic. Apart from it, I like mono acting, dancing. I also have an interest in world cinema, learning about various cinema and food cultures of different states. And
You have taken sociology as your optional subject, and tell us in which manner this subject will be helpful if you will be selected for Odisha Service.
one is the first most is this in sociology itself we have both conflict perspective and a functionalist perspective, which shows that even if we have a different perspective, it helps to have both perspective and take decisions. This is something that the subject itself teaches us. And other is the grassroots knowledge about the society itself. For example, the subjects of sociology is diverse from relating to marriage to health and tribals. So a lot of topics are covered, which is actually a very important factor for any civil servant to know in its service.
Let me take up some of the areas in sociology. Tell me how is Weber's work? How did why did Weber criticize Karl Marx? There was a particular book in which Weber, they say that Weber turned Marx upside down. He wrote a very interesting book where he challenged the concept of Marx. Can you tell me the name of that book and what was the whole concept of Weber in that?
I'm not sure, maybe it is interpretative discipline of social
Protestant Ethic and Spirit of Capitalism.
capitalism.
Please, if you are sociology, please remember this book, Protestant Ethics and Spirit of Capitalism. In that particular book, what Weber is trying to say, for Karl Marx, religion is a superstructure. But, in this book, he said how Protestant ethic spurred the spirit of capitalism. So he basically said, no, religion is very important to the society. While Marx was of the view that religion is like an opium to the people. So he turned him upside down. Since you have taken sociology,
Yes, sir.
there are 4 people, because I had sociology as my optional papers in the IAS. That's what I am asking you. So read the Protestant Ethic and Spirit of Capitalism. What are the main features of bureaucracy which Weber mentioned? Why did he consider bureaucracy to be the most efficient system? The 3 kinds of systems he had called up. One was charismatic, one was traditional,
or
third is bureaucratic. What are the elements in bureaucracy that he talked about? Why he thought that it is the most efficient system?
He believed that bureaucracy is a very rigid system that cannot be broken down in general. I don't remember the exact word. Rational.
It is the most rational
Rational
system.
system.
It is based on rules and regulation. It is based on hierarchy.
Yes, sir.
So rational, legal. Please read Weber. Okay.
Yes.
I read it in 1976. I still remember Weber. Now tell me, there is a concept called anomy in sociology. Anomy. What does it mean? And who was the sociologist who talked about anomy?
Merton talked about,
Dakhain. Every Dakhain.
sorry, I think
Dakhain. Normlessness.
normlessness, in which there is no rules and regulations,
That's
so
right.
one
That's right.
doesn't.
What are the contributions of Morton? Since you mentioned about Morton.
He mentioned about latent and manifest functions.
Okay.
He
Very
also mentioned about conformity, and he also mentioned about anomy also.
good. Yes.
And he mentioned that also the 4 types where one can be reformist, conformist,
Very good.
ritualist.
You have read Talcott Parsons. Have you read? Both Morton and Talcott Parsons you read, because these are the 5 people. Now tell me the concept of alienation that Marx talked of. What do you mean by alienation?
Alienation is a concept that Karl Marx gave. He mentioned that alienation is basically a separation from maybe society, people, and even from oneself. There is
That's fine. So you so just refine your reading of Weber a little
Yes,
bit. Read Durkheim. Read. Okay. So brush this up, because you
Yes,
know,
sir.
if there is some guy from sociology, he or she will haul you over the coals. Okay, because that's your optional.
Yes.
That's your optional. They'll immediately ask you. Let me come to political science, polity. We have a concept called positive discrimination. What do you mean by that? Positive discrimination, you know, the Constitution. Constitution doesn't mention about positive discrimination. But there are a few articles which make a discrimination. While equality is the norm, there are certain articles in the Indian Constitution which consciously make certain distinctions from the equality principle. Tell me, give some examples of positive discrimination.
while we promote equality, what positive discrimination does is it promotes equity, to providing as per the needs of the people. For example,
Which people? Which
weaker sections of the society be
What are the different types of sections of society that we are
women, with respect to women, children, caste.
talking? Women, children are covered under which article?
Uh,
15.3. Please do read 14, 15 and 16. 15.3. So tell me something else, yeah. Children.
And also minority, Article 29 and 30,
Minority, okay.
giving them educational institutions and rights explicitly in Article 29 and 30
Which article? 29,
and 30.
30. Okay. Then anything else?
With
Reservation.
reservation of caste reservation for
For whom?
SCs and
For-
scheduled caste and scheduled tribes,
And
Uh,
backward classes.
backward classes.
Backward classes. Please remember, SC, ST and backward classes. Now tell me which category is covered under backward classes.
Uh,
SC, ST is very clear.
yes, sir.
Which category is called backward classes? OBC.
When I was trying to remember the criteria for OBC.
So OBC came much later.
Yes.
Came when? When did
Mandal, after the Mandal Commission.
Mandal Commission. Very right. We also have reservations on economic criteria.
Yes, sir.
EWS. What does it mean basically?
Among the general categories people, when there is an economic line below which we are providing EWS
What
quota.
is the line? What is the line? What is the line? What is the income limit?
I'm not sure, maybe it's 8 lakhs.
8 lakhs. 8 lakhs. So what is the reservation that is being given? How much reservation are they getting? Within the general category? 10%. 10%. How much reservations are the OBC getting?
23%.
23.
OBC.
It would be 26,
27.
27, this is 23. SC, ST, 16 plus 7,
16.
23. And EWS is 10%.
10%.
Will it come, there was a Indra Sahni judgment which said that maximum reservation can be for 50%. So, how does the Supreme Court look at this extra 10% which has been given in EWS? Has the Supreme Court agreed with this?
Yes.
Have you understood the question? When? When did it agree? When did it agree?
2019.
2019 EWS was
Introduced.
In 2023, Supreme Court said it's okay. Because it was challenged that it was violating basic structure. The Supreme Court didn't agree. Supreme Court said yes, criteria based on income cannot. Just refine your these little inputs. Let me ask a couple of questions in economics. Okay. What do you understand by make in India? When somebody says make in India, what does it mean basically?
It is, we are lacking in manufacturing sector as compared to the services sector. The main is providing indigenous.
Is it limited to manufacturing? Make in India is limited to manufacturing, or
Not
it is for every sector?
Mostly it is for indigenously manufacturing
Okay, very
in
good.
India.
Very good.
For example, in textiles and other electronics textiles.
There is a PLI scheme. There is a PLI scheme which is part of linked. What does it mean? What does it mean?
It is to attract investments in India for indigenously production.
Not PLI. PLI is meant for certain sectors. If they exceed their target of production, they will get an incentive. Now,
Sorry, sir.
are you getting my point?
Yes.
Be very, very clear. Be very, very clear. You are on the correct lines. You have generally understood. The budget, recent budget has introduced a concept called ELI. What does it mean? Employment linked incentive. Please do read the budget. 100% one or two questions will come. If somebody like me from economics is there, 100% they will ask you questions.
I will read that.
Odisha budget, what are the main features in the Odisha budget this time?
Two of the new schemes that has been introduced.
Like?
One is Subhadra Yojana,
Okay.
around to provide 10,000 rupees annually to women each year, till 5 years. And another is Samruddha Krushak Yojana,
Very good.
which is to the government will buy with rupees 3,100 per quintal of paddy. And
Why are they doing this? Why are they doing this? Why this kind of a scheme has been introduced? I'm not talking of Subhadra, I'm talking of the second scheme. What is the objective? See, there has to be an objective now.
Since I'm not sure, but I think I can tell 1-2 points.
No problem.
Maybe the agriculture remuneration is not good, and the farmers are facing economic distress.
Very, very good answer. So that they don't get into distress sell, particularly when harvesting takes place.
Yes.
Okay. Many times the farmers do not get remunerative price. So when you the government assures that yes, we are going to give you 3,100, so they will not have to make a distress sale. So this is basically to help people to preempt distress sale. Good.
We all heard this thing called Odia Smita during the last state elections in Odisha. What is your view on that? Why was it introduced in such a big way that you had several ministers from the center, including the Prime Minister, coming 2-3 times to Odisha and flogging this point of Odia Smita? What was the objective of the BJP in flogging this point at that particular time? Be contextual. I am asking about Odisha state election, which recently happened, where everybody was particularly speaking about this Odia Smita. Why was it introduced?
To promote the language, Odia language and culture, which is diminishing due to other cultures like westernization or something. I think the issue escalated due to one thing during one speech of a politician, which he mismentioned a name of a Odia poet, and that escalated among the people of Odisha. And various other issues were also linked. For example, lack of promotion of Odia language without not sorry. Can I take one?
No, fine. Yeah. You have it. No problem. Have it. Don't worry.
That will be better.
No. Actually, I thought that you are asking for a more political perspective.
Jekonis perspective.
Go on to get us.
I think the major was
Critically examine करंतु ओडिया अस्मितार सही समय रे कौन दरकार थिला बीजेपी को इंट्रोड्यूस करिबा ए इलेक्शन समय रे. It became an electoral issue, more an electoral issue rather than people researching about Odia culture, the history of Odia culture and literature. Seta natla.
Yes.
It had a political
Yeah.
theme.
One is the because of I think because people did not wanted to have a leader who was not Odia,
Does not belong to
Odisha. That is one. Then the issue of Ratna Bhandar was also linked with this Odia Asmita. That was not open for the past 46 years.
Ratna Bhandar had nothing to do with Odia Asmita. Ratna Bhandar was a separate issue.
If you have
The first point that you raised, that is the main issue.
having
Ratna Bhandar
leaders.
was basically a criticism of the previous government that for years they had not taken action
Yes, sir.
on the Pasayat committee report, right? So they changed that committee and
Yes,
they
sir.
got the other justice to that. But my question was, there a political connotation kon thila of Odia Asmita to have been introduced in such a big way that every politician, every central minister coming from India was talking about Odia Asmita at that point of time. Kon tamba.
One maybe V.K. Pandan was not from Odisha, and there was things like said if he becomes a chief minister of not being an Odia, and the second maybe people did not. I think this one point
Okay,
with respect to politics.
leave that out. Do you read newspapers?
Yes, sir.
Which newspaper?
So, the Hindu and Sambad.
The Hindu and Sambad. Okay. I'll ask a few questions on international affairs. Do you keep open? Do you
Yes.
read the Hindu here? Recently, Chinese president, he met a gentleman called Jake Sullivan, who's the national security advisor of President Biden. He went on a visit. That is just a day back. He's now back from Beijing. He met Wang Yi, the foreign minister, Chinese foreign minister, as well as President Xi. Okay? What is the purpose of this visit? Why do you think he went to Beijing all of a sudden to meet the top leadership of China? And as I told you, he is the national security advisor of President Biden. Why did he go to China now? He had gone in the past also. But what was the immediate reason? Why did he go to China? You don't know. But then how are you reading Hindu? Hindu has reported on this.
Maybe, sir, I've missed it.
Do you read Hindu regularly?
So I do read, but maybe I have missed that international issue.
Do you know about Prime Minister's recent visit to Ukraine and meeting with the Ukrainian president? Do you know that? Ukraine. There's a war going on
Yes, sir.
between Russia
Russia
and
and
Ukraine.
Ukraine.
You know about that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah?
Yes,
Since
sir.
when did this war start?
It's already been more than 1 year.
No, that's not an answer. When meaning what time, what date, what month, what year. Be very, very specific. Not maybe. Maybe doesn't give you good marks. Either you know it or you don't know it.
चारि पाँचटा important international events ଅଛି
Yes, sir.
चारि पाँचटा important current events ଅଛି ताकू टिके एकदम जमे कि तब टिके पढ़ देले जहाँ आपन सुविधा है जो but I'm saying that there are only 4 to 5 very current important events.
I'll read it.
Keep a note of that. Then you will not have.
You have to make, if you are reading the Hindu, Hindu is very good at reporting foreign affairs. They are excellent journalists, particularly Suhasini. She is the diplomatic editor. Her columns are worth reading. She has reported. There is Dinakar Peri, who was who also a Hindu correspondent, basically a covers defense affairs. He accompanied You have to be very clear about facts and figures. I think kichi gote international affairs upare asibo kichi question to pacheri
100%.
Yes, sir.
100%.
So you have to be clear about the present situation in the world. What do you mean by strategic autonomy? That's a concept of India's foreign policy. What do you mean by that?
India, when it says it's strategic autonomy, does not go with any of the particular country or any other like Western countries or South or not. It's not like that. It pursues its own interest with respect to what benefit that it gets personally. It is not influenced by any organizations or any countries
Do you think it has a link with India's previous policy of non-alignment?
Yes, sir.
Yeah?
Yes.
It's organic growth from non-alignment to strategic autonomy. Do you think there is an organic relation between the two?
Yes, I think it went in. I think
Defending national interest.
I think strategic autonomy is an extension of, I think, NAM.
Yeah, okay. So basically the country wants to preserve its national interest. It can do whatever. So in the crisis between Russia and Ukraine, there were innumerable resolutions passed in the United Nations.
Yes, sir.
India consistently abstained in
Voting.
all those resolutions. What does it mean? Was India using strategic autonomy, or India was being partisan to Russia?
So I think India abstained from voting in any of the international platform against Russia because of its personal interest. One, we were importing oil and weapons from Russia, and the second is India has also mentioned about the inhuman killings in Ukraine also. So it did not wanted to violate human rights principle on a international platform. That is why it did not go for Russia at the international platform. Even the Western countries like USA have mentioned India's opinion as very shaky, but India has maintained its stand.
Yeah. The logic of Indian foreign policy makers was that, well, you guys telling us that why are we importing oil, but you are also importing oil. Most of the European countries are importing gas and oil from Russia. That was one point. Secondly, as a foreign minister pointed out, it is Europe's war. And why do you think that the whole world is interested when the war is localized in Europe? That was another point. Now my next question is, when you talk of India's partisanship or a lack of strategic autonomy, in the recent visit to Ukraine and his dialogue with the Ukrainian president, India has supported the UN position. The UN position, article number 1, is that every country must follow the UN Charter. Okay? And every country can defend its own territorial integrity and sovereignty. In the case of Russian invasion against Ukraine, it has amassed 30% of Ukraine's eastern part, which is called the Donetsk part. So it has violated Ukraine's territorial integrity and sovereignty, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Simple logic.
Yes, sir.
So then why doesn't India protest? India is also a part of the UN Charter, isn't it? It's a member. Then why doesn't India protest against that? And why is it that now Mr. Modi is saying that India is all for preservation of territorial integrity and sovereignty? Why now India is telling that? Earlier it was not. It has abstained on the motions when Russia invaded. It was Russia's invasion, right?
Invention.
Ukraine was not invading
No,
Russia. It was Russia's invasion. Not only invasion, but taking out 4 territories, forcibly occupying and annexing it to Russia through referendums in
Yes.
those territories. Okay? Now Russia refuses to cede those territories. So the conflict is Russia, both are intractable positions. Russia says that we will not cede these territories which we have annexed to us, and we want Ukraine to give a solid commitment that they will not join NATO. These are the two inviolable conditions of Russia. Ukraine has a counter plan, a 10-point peace program at the say, and a major part of that is that Russia should vacate all Ukrainian territories, including Crimea, which it annexed in 2014. Where does India stand in this? Is it supporting Ukraine's position or Russia's position?
It is not clearly supporting anyone, but the recent visit to Ukraine and supporting UN Charter, one reason could be that too, because of growing ties between Russia and China that India is also concerned about. And India has always stand up on this fact that one country should protect its sovereignty, because if tomorrow the attacks are on India with respect to the neighboring countries like Pakistan, so that is the one reason that it says that to protect sovereignty. And the other reasons with respect to it's not clearly against Russia is because of